Hey guys, it's time for a book haul, and I got lots of books to share with you guys. I got about 30 plus books sitting here next to me, so I'm just gonna get going. The first batch of books that I'm gonna share with you are books that I've already read and reviewed, but I never actually hauled them on this channel in a video. I have Target Churchill by Warren Adler and James C. Humes. This is a historical fiction thriller that takes place during World War II, and it's about an assassination attempt on Winston Churchill. The White Princess by Philippa Gregory. This is about Elizabeth of York, the daughter of Elizabeth Woodville, who was Queen of England at one point. And Princess Elizabeth of York becomes a queen in her own right and marries Henry VII. I have not done a video review of this series yet, the Cousins War series, because I'm waiting for the final installment of the series to come out, and then I'm just going to do a big large kind of overview of the entire series. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I already read and reviewed this. If you want to check out my thoughts, go click it. I don't even think I have to tell you guys what this book is about, but just in case, it's about a girl named Hazel who has terminal cancer, and she falls in love for the first time with another cancer guy. Odins Ravens by K.L. Armstrong and M.A. Marr. This is book 2 in the Blackwell Pages series, and this is a children's series that is a retelling of Norse mythology. Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. This is about a girl named Amy Gum who gets sucked into Oz, and in this version of Oz, Dorothy is actually the villain. I have The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book called Cinder, and this is a retelling of Cinderella, but with a twist. This is a sci-fi fantasy kind of version of Cinderella, and Cinderella is a cyborg. And then there's Scarlet, which is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, and Cress, which is a retelling of Rapunzel, and I absolutely loved this series. I will be doing a full review on the entire series once the final book comes out. Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, and I think I still pronounced her name wrong. A fellow booktuber told me how to pronounce her name, and he said that the L is silent, so Diana Gabaldon? Okay, the next set of books in this haul are books that I was sent for review. And I believe I got all of these from Goodreads, if I'm not mistaken. A Teaspoon of Earth and Sea by Dinah Neary. I hope I pronounced her name right too. And this is about two twin sisters living in 1980s Iran. And judging from this description, one of the girls lives in the US and the other girl still lives in Iran. And this sounds really fantastic. I'm really excited to read it. Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I'm holding this cover kind of funny because there's what the book is about right here. You probably can't even see that because it's whited out. But then on the front is this thing, because it's an ARC copy, and it just says, a young woman, a kingdom, an evil enemy, a birthright foretold. But yeah, this is the actual cover right here. And this sounds really great. I'm glad I wanted. They gave me this really cool insert, which is really nice. It's a fantasy series about a princess, and I guess she has to take back her kingdom from this evil queen, and it looks like she has to look for this sapphire that has special powers, perhaps. And it even says, if you like The Hunger Games and Game of Thrones, you'll probably really like this book. So hopefully that turns out to be true, because that sounds awesome. I have The Lie by Helen Dunmore. This is obviously an ARC copy. I don't know why they sent me this ARC copy, because the actual book has come out, and I would have liked the nice cover instead of this crappy blue thing. I might not even read this. I might go just buy the real edition, because it sounds like a book that I would really enjoy. But this is historical fiction taking place during World War II, about two guys and their experiences during, no, sorry, not World War II, World War I. But yeah, sounds really great. I just hate this ARC copy. It's not making me very excited to read it looking like this. The Winter Guest by Pam Jenoff. Hope I pronounced her name correctly. This is a World War II book as well. It's about two 18-year-old twins as they raise their 3 younger siblings in Poland under the shadow of Nazi occupation. And then I have The Truth About the Harry Kerber Affair by Joel Dicker. And this is some sort of mystery thriller. It sounds like some sort of murder mystery, which I always love that. When I signed up for this book on Goodreads, it said for fans of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. This book very much sounds like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is partly why I signed up for it. The next 3 books that I have were very kindly sent to me by BBC Girl 520. She was giving away a bunch of her books, and I asked her if it was okay if I could have these books, and she sent them to me. I have North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, and Persuasion by Jane Austen. And I'm super excited to read these 3 books because these are 3 books that I've kind of always really wanted to read, but I've never gotten around to them, so maybe one day when I'm drawing from my TBR box, I'll pick these books out. Okay, the rest of the books are books that I bought with my swagbucks.com money. I just got a bunch of gift cards and spent those gift cards on these books. City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. I have yet to read this book. I have not even bought the latest book in the series, City of Heavenly Fire, correct? I'm probably not going to read this or the next book until the next book is actually out in paperback form, because I've collected all these books in paperback so far. So yeah, once that book comes out in paperback, I will definitely read this and that one, because I'm dying to know how the series concludes. The Romanov Sisters by Helen Rappaport. This is non-fiction, as the title suggests, about the Romanov sisters. And anyone who knows me knows that I love Romanov history, the whole mystery surrounding Anastasia, and I just love the story behind these 4 princesses. And oh my goodness, this is such a beautiful cover. Let me put it up closer, because my window's kind of widen it out. Oh, that's such a beautiful cover. The camera's doing this cover no justice. Innocent Traitor by Alison Weir. This is about Lady Jane Grey, who is kind of queen for about a week or so before she's kind of beheaded. I wish more people knew about Lady Jane Grey. She kind of reigns, like I said, for about a week, right there in between Edward and Mary. So kind of right there in the middle of the Tudor reign. Guilt by Catherine Longshore, and this is about Catherine Howard, who was the 5th wife of Henry VIII. And this is young adult historical fiction. I'm very curious if I will enjoy this or if it will be much too teenagery for me. But I've heard a lot of good things about these Catherine Longshore books, so hopefully I really like it. The Passion of the Purple Plumeria by Lauren Willig, and this is book 10 in the Pink Carnation series. I'm actually missing a couple books from this series, but I'm hoping to kind of remedy that soon and get to the ones that I'm missing, because I would really love to kind of have a binge read of the entire series. I've not read a lot of the early books in a really long time. And this series in general is historical fiction that takes place in England and France sometimes during Napoleon's reign. The best way to describe them would be kind of romantic comedies with some swashbuckling action in them. Sepulture by Kate Moss, and this is actually book 2 in the, it's not called the Labyrinth trilogy, but it's a trilogy of some sort, and this is book 2 after Labyrinth. But the thing is, with this trilogy, the books have nothing to do with each other, so I'm not sure how exactly they even connect. Because for instance, with Labyrinth, that took place in the 1100s, and this book takes place in 1891. So yeah, 2 totally different scenarios for these books. And then even the 3rd book in the series, which I can't remember what that one's called. I think it's called Citadel. Even that one takes place in like 1945. So I'm not sure how all these books connect. I guess I'll find out. They might not connect at all, but they're considered a trilogy. As you know, if you watched my review of Labyrinth, you know that I did not enjoy Labyrinth at all. There were elements that were okay, but overall I was not impressed with it. So I'm hoping that Sepulture impresses me more, since it's a whole different subject, and maybe Kate Moss's writing has improved. Journey into Mystery by Kieran Gillen. And this is a graphic novel series, if you cannot tell. This is a graphic novel series in a bind-up. It says Volume 1, but it does say it's the complete collection. But it's about Loki from Norse mythology. I think this is the graphic novel where Loki is basically a child or a teenager the whole entire series, so I'm very curious to see how that works. I am hoping to get to this relatively soon, but right now I'm waiting for another graphic novel series to come out called Loki, Agent of Asgard, and I'd really love to review that alongside with this. The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz, and this is a Sherlock Holmes story. And apparently it was approved by the Arthur Conan Doyle estate, which is really cool. I have read the complete Sherlock Holmes collection, so I'm pretty excited to eventually read this and kind of compare it to Arthur Conan Doyle's original work and see if this really feels like something Arthur Conan Doyle could have written. A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I seriously can't remember if I've already hauled this book, but oh well, this is a fantasy series about vampires and werewolves, I think. This is a book that I've heard a lot of kind of mixed reviews. You either love it or hate it, but I'm hoping that I like it. The Ice Princess by Camilla Läckberg. This is a mystery thriller that takes place in a Scandinavian village, and I believe it even says somewhere on here that if you like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, you might like this. And I do like these Scandinavian thrillers. They're just very interesting and really dark and gritty. A Respectable Trade by Philippa Gregory. This book takes place in the late 1700s, and it's about a woman and a man who is a slave, I believe. And this just sounds like a very interesting book and something very different from Philippa Gregory, and I'm really excited to read this. You all know how much I love Philippa Gregory. And another Philippa Gregory book called The Little House, and this is a more modern setting. I've seen the miniseries adaptation of this book, and that's partly why I wanted to get this book. It's about a woman who marries a guy, but the guy has a very protective mother, and the mother is always kind of interfering between the husband and wife. And it's kind of it's a mystery, and it's very dark and interesting. So I'm curious to see how much the book is like the miniseries, and if I'll like the book as much as the miniseries. The Last Summer by Judith Kinghorn. This is a book that takes place in World War II, and I'm just gonna say that it sounds very Downton Abbey-esque. I love me some Downton Abbey. Sarah's Key by Tatiana de Rosnay. I actually was encouraged to get this book from Rachel over at the Shades of Orange. Rachel did a fantastic review on this book, and it got me really excited, so thanks to Rachel I picked this book up. And this is also a World War II book. Why do I have so many World War II books in this pile, you guys? Good God. It's about a 10-year-old girl, and in order to protect her brother, she locks him in a bedroom cupboard. But yeah, sounds really great. Me giving you a summary ain't doing this book no justice, sorry you guys. The Princess Bride by William Goldman. Oh my god, I about died when I saw this edition. It's a hardback, and there's like beautiful illustrations in it. Here's one illustration. Yeah, this thing is full of beautiful illustrations, and it's a really thick paper. The actual book itself isn't even that long, but this is just a really beautiful copy. And I've always really loved the movie, and I'm so sad that I've never actually read the book, so now I can read it. This is a really heavy book, too. The third Philippa Gregory book in this haul, Order of Darkness, Book 2, Stormbringers. I have yet to read the first book in the series, Changeling. I'm gonna kind of collect all these books and then read them all at once. And this is some sort of historical fantasy adventure story. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I finally have this book in my possession. This is a mystery thriller about a husband and wife, and the wife goes missing. And I'm really anxious to read this book before the movie comes out. And I've heard pretty much nothing but good things about this book. The Girl Who Came Home, a novel of the Titanic by Hazel Gaynor. And this is a book, as if you can tell from the title, it has something to do with the Titanic. Part of the story takes place on the Titanic, but then part of the story takes place in the 1980s. And it's about a woman in the 1980s, I guess, who asks her grandmother about her experience on the Titanic, and she tells the story, I guess. Kind of, it almost sort of sounds Titanic-ish, like the movie. And the last book in this haul, you guys, is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And this is, once again, World War II historical fiction. I love World War II historical fiction. What can I say, you guys? It's my guilty pleasure. And I believe this is about two children. One of the children is blind, and it takes place in France. And, oh, it just sounds so great. Something about Hitler Youth. I've seen a lot of fantastic reviews for this book on BookTube, and everyone raves about it, so I'm hoping that I enjoy it just as much, and I would really like to read this as soon as I can and do a review. So that's it for this book haul, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it's not too long. I hope you sat through the whole thing. Have you read any of these books? Are there ones that you want me to read as soon as possible? Or are there any of these books that you want to read? Just let me know in the comments below. So that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this book haul, you may like these other book hauls. Bye, guys.